All right, I couldn't find a song for this one, so you know what that means. It's time for another Mr. V rap video. No, I'm just going to go over it. So, this week our spelling words are talking about the S sound. This is one of the first sounds you learn in kindergarten because it's very, very common. But it has a deceptively large number of ways to spell it. So we're going to go ahead and review those quickly. The most common way to spell it is just with the letter S. That's one of the reasons why we learn it in kindergarten. About 75% of the words you run into that have the S sound are going to be spelled with just the letter S. So we have those ones modeled right here for you. Sunshine, surly, response, and subject. Now, there's some words like address and princess that we don't want to end in a single S, and so we double those S's. That's that doubling rule we learned about last year. And in some words like assembly, if you did not have two S's in that word, this E would affect the sound of that A at the beginning of the word, and it would end up being assembly, and we don't want it to be that way. So we double up the S in that word to make sure the A makes the proper sound. There's also two unique spelling patterns that don't come up very often, S-T-E-N and S-T-L-E. So S-T-E-N like in fasten, or S-T-L-E like in castle. And your words from this week's spelling list are listen and whistle. There's about 13 or 14 words in the English language that have a silent T in them, and listen and whistle are two of those words. So luckily there's not many of them. You're just going to have to remember those words, memorize those words, so you can get those spelled correctly. Words like universe, response, and promise. Again, we avoid ending words in a single S because that goofs up English when you have plurals and other inflected endings. So we usually use an SS, but we also don't like having a whole bunch of consonants together because that looks confusing in a word. So in words like universe, response, and promise, instead of using two S's, since we already have a consonant near the end there, we just use SE, and that E insulates the S or protects it and helps us avoid ending words in just an S. The other type of method we can use to make the S sound is utilizing the letter C in words like princess, central, and civil. The C is next to a vowel, and that vowel is making a sound. Anytime C is next to E, I, or Y, it's going to sound like S, so keep an eye out for that. Also, at the end of words, a lot of times, again, if we don't use an SS or an SE, we will sometimes use a CE, and in this case, the E is still going to be silent. We're not going to hear it. It's just going to be making the C sound like an S, like in advice or mince or glance. And then finally, there's another oddball spelling where you'll run into SCE or SCI, like in scent or fascinate. And in this case, the SCE or the SCI kind of blend together into a single sound. So in the word scent or fascinate, the S and the C are kind of working together with the E and the I just to make that S sound. And so we don't need to worry about any other sounds there. You're just going to have to remember that. Luckily, that is not a very common spelling. So there's S for you, the sound, usually spelled with S, sometimes with C. Hopefully that will clarify it on your spelling test. I hope you get 100, and I hope you